Hoorah, Space Marines, and welcome to my 100% playthrough of the 2023 remaster of Quake 2 Ground Zero on Nightmare. This is Unit 5, Widow's Lair. And here we are at last. Welcome everyone to the final unit and final map of Quake 2 Ground Zero. And looks like a Marine crashed through there in his pod from the very start. Wanimal. I believe Wanimal is a level designer or some other employee for Rogue Entertainment who worked on this game. There's another pod too in the map where you get the airstrike marker called Zor, and I think Zor is actually a level designer. But anyway, you know what, let's oh, it's sealed behind you, okay. Well, we're here in the Widow's Lair. Our primary objective is to destroy the gravity well using our brand spanking new antimatter bomb. And the secondary objective is to engage and destroy the guardian of the gravity well, the Black Widow Guardian. Now, a few notes about this girl. For starters, it says we have 2 kills, but we only have 1 boss. Well, what's up with that? The Black Widow Guardian has 2 forms. And I think on every difficulty, both of her forms have the same amount of health. Actually, no, I think her second form on every difficulty under Nightmare has a bit more than her first. But on Nightmare difficulty, both forms have the same amount of health. Note number 2. On Nightmare difficulty, her health in both forms gets a major buff because she has a power shield. And so, yeah. Now, earlier I said, actually I think all previous times I said, that I would not using my cells against her. But Chozo, I hear some of you ask. Cells do so much more damage against power shields in this remaster, you've been saying. So what gives with this? Well, that is true. Cells, all energy weapons, BFG, Hyper Blaster, Plasma Beam, I think maybe the Blaster's considered one too, but why would you even try using that? They do more damage against power shields, but you don't want to use them because we're going to be using this instead. And you can probably already hear her stomping around below us. This weapon, the Disruptor, is going to be our boss killer. Why? Well, in addition to the Disruptor dealing a pretty good chunk of damage, it fires these black cores that have a limited homing ability and also push enemies back, so you can push her against a wall, which you want to do to keep her from moving around. But in addition to that, the Disruptor also has one very, very unique ability. Now, I don't know if this unique ability is a glitch that they'll patch out, but I'm pretty sure it's not, because otherwise it's not that special of a weapon. The Disruptor ignores the power shield. Yes, so the Black Widow Guardian's greatest strength is about to be completely nullified by this weapon. And, well, we also have both of our damage boosting items, as well as our Defender Sphere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop down, use the double damage first. I might also go ahead and turn the Defender Sphere on. I might save that for the second form. And then we're just going to plug her with as many Disruptor cores as we can. Once her first form dies, she will disappear behind a wall for a good few seconds. Your first power-ups, whatever power-ups you use in the first phase will die off before the second form emerges. And for the second form, we're going to use the quad damage and the Defender Sphere at the same time. And then, once again, just plug her full of Disruptor cores. Now, what type of ammo or weaponry does she have? Well, in her first form, she has a Hyper Blaster. I think she also has a Railgun. And I think that might be it. Her second form, she has a Plasma Beam, her own Disruptor, and I think twin chain guns, or maybe chain guns in her first form. But in addition to having her own weaponry, as well as an absolutely ungodly amount of HP, she also has a very annoying ability. Did you think you were going to fight her alone? Heh, sorry to break it to you, but no. She summons a trio of stalkers to aid her in the fight. Do not focus on the stalkers until her first form goes away and she's getting into her ultimate form. Because if you do, or if they just die in the crossfire from, like, say, if you're using the BFG or whatnot, she will spawn all she will instantly replace all the ones that you kill. So if you kill 1 or 2 or all 3, she'll just bring in 1, 2, or 3 more. So there will always be 3 stalkers fighting you while you're fighting her. And this is in both of her forms. So once the first form disappears, get rid of the first form, or the first group of stalkers, because she won't be able to, bring any back until her second form comes out. And then when you kill her second form, all of her spawn stalkers will immediately die with her. It's like a parasite-host relationship. And so one last note. I said she had an ungodly amount of health in this difficulty, right? On Nightmare? Well, what is ungodly? Well, on easy, medium, and hard, both of her forms have anywhere between, if I'm remembering correctly, 2,000 or 2,500 to like 4,500 HP between her first and her second forms. And again, I believe her second form has slightly more health than her first form. Now, usually that doesn't matter, because you can just pop on a invulnerability and a quad damage and whatnot and just unload on her. And then she's gone, right? Well, on Nightmare difficulty, both of her forms have the same amount of health. And when I say it's a huge buff, I mean it's a huge buff. She goes from anywhere from 4,500 to 13,500 health in both forms, for a grand total of 27,000 hit points. Yeah. Now, needless to say, if you didn't have the Disruptor, or you didn't have enough ammo for it, or say no ammo at all, stupidly enough, and you had to rely on your other weapons, now there is ammo in the arena below, but there's no Disruptor cores. Even with your double damage, your quad damage, your Defender Sphere, and all of those things helping you, it would still be a very pulse-pounding fight. Because a lot of her, like her Plasma Beam attack in her second form is hit scan, she just kind of sweeps it back and forth, and you have to run away from those damn stalkers the whole time. So yeah, 27,000 health. And the one note I almost forgot. Remember how I also said earlier that it makes no sense on Nightmare to use an invulnerability, which I of course no longer have, against her? Well, that's because on Nightmare difficulty, and only on Nightmare difficulty, if you use the double damage, the quad damage, or the invulnerability against her, she will use them as well. Yes, she mimics those power-ups against you on Nightmare. So you deal double damage, she'll deal double damage. You deal quad damage, she'll deal quad damage. And if you have an invulnerability, she'll be invulnerable as well. Now, that being said, you could use an invulnerability, like say if your health gets too low and you have to find some health and you don't want to die while looking around for it, you can throw on the invulnerability to kind of give yourself some breathing room. But other than that, yeah. So unlike in all the previous campaigns where, say, against the Jorg Battlesuit and the Macron, where you're outfitting yourself with an invulnerability and your quad damage and just unloading on them, you can't do that against the Black Widow Guardian on Nightmare. Now, she will be using a double and a quad damage because we will be using it, because you pretty much have to. But we will not be using an invulnerability even if we had one. But one thing she does not copy, interestingly enough, is actually the Defender Sphere. Now, the Defender Sphere, remember, it soaks up, I want to say it's 25% of incoming damage, and also fires upon the thing, the last thing that damaged you. So for this first form, we're going to drop down, we're going to don the double damage, and we're just going to unload. And then after, I think, roughly 15 shots, her first form should be dead, and we have to wait for her second form. So once we're waiting on that, I'll sweep up all the remaining stalkers, and then once the second form pops up, we're throwing on that quad damage and the Defender Sphere. So I think I've spouted enough exposition and strategy for right now. Let's just friggin' do it. Drop down, and there's the big girl herself. Throw on double damage, and just go ballistic. So she has a super-powered blaster that is fully automatic. I did not mean to kill that stalker. Okay. Okay, so that was like 20 shots. And, okay, she spawns in more than 3. I guess you can spawn up to 6. Or 7. Damn, that's a lot of stalkers. Why can't I kill this one? Why is that stalker not... That was weird. Anyway. Go ahead and clear these guys. And here comes the second form. Get the Disruptor back out. Don the quad damage. And don the Defender Sphere. And the power shield, because why not? And then once again, just go crazy. And down she goes. I had to use all 30 of my shots. Whew. Yeah. So if you weren't using the Disruptor, you would have been seeing a power shield popping up in front of her that whole time. And even with all of that damage boosting ability, she was still dealing out that much damage and able to tank that much damage. I don't think the Disruptor does an obscenely large amount of damage like the BFG or maybe even the Railgun. Actually, I think it does like 125, and it might do a bit of damage over time because it like pushes you back and all that stuff. But yeah, so if you don't have both a double and a quad damage, maybe also the Defender Sphere you can kind of take or leave. I could also suppress my shots. Oh well, I'll use it now. And I'll turn these on and this on as well, because I won't need them anymore. But yeah, if you don't have all that stuff helping you, man, this fight is... And even with it, it's still ridiculous how much just health she has. And there's a mural of her. Hey, nice, nice robotic fun bags there, Black Widow Guardian. And I don't think there's too much lore surrounding her. Like, what exactly is she? And how'd she come to be? But anyway, here's our means of escape, but we have to destroy the gravity well first. So secondary objective is to use the antimatter bomb to destroy the gravity well. And then once we do, and this is actually new to the remaster, we have to run back here and use the tram, or the shuttle. If memory serves in the non-remaster, this level ended as soon as you placed the bomb. You didn't even have to run back to the, to the starting area. Again, if memory serves. But for now, all we gotta do is find where to place this thing. And we have a blue force field blocking us. So basically, we have to find our way up, deactivate the force fields, cross this blue force field here to find our way up to the up to the console, and then we have to find our way back to the entrance. Now there will be a countdown that starts of sorts when you place the bomb. You don't hear a countdown, it just makes countdown like noises. And I don't think you can actually be caught in here when the gravity well blows up. Because I think I tested that once, and I stayed in here just out of curiosity for like damn near 1 to 2 minutes, and nothing happened. But still, I wouldn't want to be caught in this explosion. So, plop the antimatter bomb right there. Secondary objective, antimatter bomb planted, escape to research hangar using transport pod. And there's the countdown style noises right there. But just follow this path around here. And then keep to the left. And here we are. Head inside the tram. Make sure we have everything, and we do. And let's get out of here. Whew. Sorry, Gravity Well, but you are about to be Kaputski.
Private Stepchild calling the Demos. Stepchild calling the Demos. I've planted the charges on the Gravity Well generator. Inform all remaining ground troops to evacuate the area.
Copy that, Stepchild. Now get out of there.
Roger. Stepchild out.
Security breach detected. You are not clear for takeoff.
Shit. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, probably should have opened those doors before leaving, but hey, oh well. Why do that when you can just ram right through them? And here it comes.
Stepchild Demos. Did it work?
Hell yes, it worked, Private. We're reporting total destruction of primary target and huge secondary chain reaction explosions all across the planet's surface. Nothing's living on that rock.
What about the others?
There aren't that many left to retrieve, Stepchild. You're one of the lucky few that made it out of that inferno in one piece.
Let's get the hell out of here.
I could not possibly agree more. And we get tractor beamed up into the safe confines of the Deimos. And that is it. Whew. So that is Ground Zero, everyone. Without a doubt, the hardest campaign of the original Quake 2 campaigns. Definitely made a lot more... Well, I mean, technically, yes, easier, but also a lot more fun to play, mainly with the fact that the turrets got nerfed. I mean, in the non-remaster, which I was actually planning a playthrough of Quake 2 down the line before I knew a remaster was happening. And I was just going to tell you, be super, super careful around those turrets, because they don't play. I mean, they had just, God, so much health. like 2 or 3 rockets to kill him. And look at that. Samuel Villarreal rendering in Quake 264 reverse engineering, because remember, Quake 264 was only on the N64, so reverse engineering was needed to bring it to the PC, just like with Doom 64. But yes, that's it. Ground Zero is finished. The Black Widow Guardian is no more. The Gravity Well is no more. Whatever ships were stuck in the Strogos orbit are now free to leave. Hopefully they did leave when that explosion happened, because as Nymos said, nothing is living on that rock. And I think these campaigns, or at least one of them, like kind of operate concurrently with the base Quake 2 campaign, I think. Because remember, to take on... Actually, this was both Quake 2 and The Reckoning. To take on the final boss, which was the Macron, oddly enough, in both of them, we were not actually on Strogos anymore. We were actually on one of Strogos' moons, or like an asteroid or something. So the final map of both of those, the base campaign and The Reckoning, didn't even take place on the planet's surface. And in order to leave the moon in The Reckoning, you just boarded a little freighter or fighter ship, whatever, and made it out before the moon base exploded. So this was actually the only Quake 2 campaign where the entire campaign took place on Strogos, including the final encounter. So yeah, the main characters from the original 2 campaign, Bitterman and Joker, they weren't even planet side when the gravity well blew up. So all those chain reaction explosions that Dymos mentioned, they weren't even there to experience. So they definitely survived. But I wonder who else of the SMC were able to make it out in time before all those explosions happened. But that's it. Ground Zero is done. Definitely much more fun to play this time around. Very fun, but very challenging. Definitely, without a doubt, the hardest of the original 3. No question. I would say it's Ground Zero, then The Reckoning, and then the original Quake 2. And that's probably just because I'm so used to the original Quake 2. It's kind of a cakewalk for me, aside from those platforming areas on those damn near instant death pitfalls. Because I only died once so far, and that was in the Unit 8 of the Quake 2 campaign in that secret level. Because I technically fell out into space, even though my jibs were shot back up inside of the satellite. But what is next? Well, the original Quake 2 campaigns are now done. There's only 2 left to play before we're done with the remaster in total. And since we're kind of going in the order of operations here, our next stop is Quake 2 64. Now, as I've said before, Quake 2 64 does not really operate on units in the same way that all the other campaigns do, even Call of the Machine to an extent. It is a level-by-level affair, much like the original Quake, and things like Doom and Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem 3D, all those games. And I think the main reason for that is because, and I may have mentioned this as well, but I don't recall if I did or not, the original version of Quake 2 64 on the Nintendo 64, believe it or not, was actually running on the Quake 1 engine. Yes, Quake 2 on the Quake 1 engine. This was the only instance where it was like that. Because the PlayStation port of Quake 2, which I didn't even know existed for the longest time, I believe was running on just a consoleized version of the Quake 2 engine. And so, with Quake 2 64, because it was running on the Quake 1 engine, you're going to see, for starters, it's a level-by-level affair instead of all these interconnected levels, which Quake 1, the Quake engine, did not support. Or at least they didn't program it in there. But in addition to that, power-ups, there is no inventory system. There is also no crouching, which there was no inventory or crouching in the original Quake either. You could jump and you could run and you could shoot, and that was it. So it's going to be the same for Quake 2 64. They kept all of those original lacks of features, for lack of a better way of explaining it, in the remaster of Quake 2 64 as well. There's no crouching, but you don't really need crouching, to be honest with you. And there's no inventory. Once you pick up a power-up, it is instantly used, just like it was in the original Quake. So you have to make good use of it as soon as you pick it up. And in addition to that, like I said, it's a level-by-level affair, so there's no interconnectability or interconnectedness, whatever the right word is. And the levels are much smaller. The kill counts are significantly smaller. The first level of the game only has like 12 kills. So I will be doing those on a video-by-video basis. And normally whenever I play, retro FPS that has a level-by-level, format, like I pretty much have been doing so far up until, like, Ashes Afterglow, and then here with Quake 2, normally I release a video every Tuesday and Friday. Well, since this series is going to be as long as it is, because we're doing all the campaigns back to back to back to back to back, because there's 5 of them, I'm going to be releasing one new Quake 2 64 video every single day. And there are 19 levels total in Quake 2 64, so that's going to be 19 consecutive. I might not do an upload on the weekends. I'll have to see what the schedule looks like, because I will be doing my typical Tuesday and Friday releases for the other Quake 2 campaigns, since those videos are as long as they are. And then I'll do that same thing again when we get to Call of the Machine, which is after Quake 2 64. Because there is at least one other playthrough that I have planned out. I was actually going to do that playthrough for this time around, but then the remaster for Quake 2 got announced, and there was a new campaign, and, well, this kind of just happened. And there is another release coming soon that I have been waiting forever for. Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion, is getting remastered, and the release comes out November 14th. And I'm going to need some playtime with that first before I feel, confident enough to do a playthrough of it for YouTube. Because they'll probably put in secret areas, which did not exist in the N64 version, just like with the first 2 Turok remasters. And the life force pickups serve a different purpose. Instead of giving you an extra life, because there's infinite lives in Turok 3, there's 100 of them exactly in each of the 5 levels. And when you find all 100 of them, if you find all of them in the same level or not, whenever you find 100 life forces, you instead have your maximum health permanently increased by 10 points. So you can get up to 150 health if you find all 500 life forces. So that'll be down the line as well. And come December, depending on whether or not these schedules overlap, I want to do a playthrough of the original Doom. Maybe Ultimate Doom, I don't know, because this coming December, specifically December 10th, is going to be Doom's 30th anniversary. My God, I feel old. Doom is going to be just under 4 years younger than me, because I turned 34 in December. So, yep, December 10th, 1993 is when the FPS scene was permanently changed. I mean, Wolfenstein 3D was pretty advanced for its time, too. But then comes Doom and just changes the entire game. And then 3 years later after that comes Quake and changes the entire game again, with the first ever 3D accelerated engine of any genre, as far as I can remember. So yeah, I have that planned. And you know what? Since I'm spoiling what I have planned for the future, I might as well go ahead and spoil what I was originally going to do now, but what is now going to be in the future as well. It's going to be at some point during all these new releases. And the playthrough that I had planned before this remaster came out was Strife. Strife, specifically the Veteran Edition, the Steam remaster that was released by, or I think published by Night Dive. I forget who developed it. Maybe it was also developed by Night Dive, I can't remember. But I will actually be playing Strife Veteran Edition, but I will be using it on the GZ Doom executable, so I can still have, like, my HUD add-ons for, like, kills and secrets and stuff. So that was the big secret I was keeping, that mystery playthrough. It is going to be Strife Veteran Edition. I have had at least 1 or 2 people asking about it, and I was like, you know what? I hadn't played it in a while, so I'm going to play through it again, which I did, like, 2 or 3 times. And I think that's what I was playing at the time when the remaster was all but announced, because I was actually already planning on doing a recording of it when I heard the news of this coming out, and that's kind of when this came to the forefront and Strife Veteran Edition fell to the wayside. So that is planned as well. So the rest of Quake 2 will be obviously coming first. At the time of me recording this, it is 11:35 on Friday, September 15th, 11:35 a.m. that is, 11:35 hours. And so yeah, we have the rest of Quake 2 coming first. Then after that, I'll have to see what the schedule or what the calendar looks like once all these videos get scheduled for upload. Typically, I don't like to start scheduling my publishings until I'm actually fully finished with the playthrough, in case I have something come up in real life where I can't finish something as soon as I want to. But I'll have to see what the calendar looks like after that, because I really want to do the Doom playthrough, like, on its 30th, like, the first video for it on its 30th anniversary. I don't know what day on the calendar December 10th falls on for this year. I can, you know what, I can pull up a calendar app really quick and see. I think it might be the weekend. And no, go away. December 10th is, oh, it's a Saturday. Ooh, no, sorry, it's a Sunday. Sunday, okay. So yeah, I might start that on Sunday. So I'll see what the calendar looks like after all the Quake 2 stuff gets uploaded. And I might even decide to tweak the other Quake 2 campaigns a bit more as far as upload schedule goes, so I can make it fit. So with how many videos there's going to be, it's likely that Doom might come first. Maybe I'll do Doom and Turok 3 at the same time. I don't typically like to do multiple projects at the same time. I like to, you know, have my undivided attention and focus on one project at a time. That's just how I like to do things. I certainly could do it, but I don't know if I'd want to. Anyway, I prattled on long enough. Those are my future plans. In no particular order is, well, this one first, obviously. The rest of Quake 2, the Quake 2 Remaster. And then at some point, Strife Veteran Edition, Turok 3 Shadow of Oblivion Remaster, and Doom or Ultimate Doom. And then I want to do Doom 2 on its 30th anniversary, which will be next year. I think September or October is when that game came out in 1994. So, yeah. I have talked so long that the intro music has changed, so that means it's time to stop. That was Ground Zero, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed seeing the Black Widow Guardian get what she deserves. Hope everyone has an amazing rest of their day or night. I am signing off once again. Next up will be Quake 2 64, and that'll be a level-by-level affair. So the videos will be much shorter, but there will be much more of them. So, until next time, everyone, I will see you all later. Bye-bye.